Think pitchers' duels are boring? Tonight felt like a cathedral of pitching until the roof blew off in the seventh. Blake Snell carved 6 brilliant innings. Jesus Luzardo matched him pitch for pitch. Then, in the blink between frames, a 4-run eruption turned a scoreless game into one the Dodgers would barely hold. Snell's line says it all. 1 hit, 9 strikeouts, 6 shutout innings. He wasn't just good, he was surgical. And when a starter throws like that in October, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. The Phillies needed a crack. They never found one until the very end. The book on Game 2 reads tidy and brutal. Scoreless through 6, then the Dodgers' 7th that changed everything. Teoscar Hernandez poked the first run across. Will Smith ripped a 2-run single. Shohei Ohtani added an RBI knock. What had been a patient pitcher's duel exploded into a 4-run frame. Sudden, decisive, and exactly the kind of payoff October demands. But don't pretend the lead felt safe. The Dodgers' bullpen, a storyline all season, made everyone sweat. The Phillies scratched a run in the 8th, and in the 9th they smelled blood. A leadoff single, then Nick Castellanos with a 2-run double that made it 4-3 and turned confidence into anxiety. Suddenly the crowd was loud in a different register. Urgent, nervous, alive. This is postseason baseball's cruel math. No lead is sacred, and momentum is a contagion. Manager decisions, matchups, a single misplayed hop, they become giant in the late innings. The Dodgers' pen wobbled, the Phillies surged, and everything felt like it could flip. That tension is exactly what playoff baseball is built to produce. When it mattered most, Los Angeles reached for veteran arms and a steady defense. Alex Vesia and Roki Sasaki combined to shut the door. The final out was messy, a 2-out grounder, a low throw, a scramble to save the play at first. But it was the kind of ugly, necessary finish that produces wins in October. Not pretty. Effective. What this game means: the Dodgers go home up 2-0 in a best-of-5 series. In this format, that's massive. It's not a coronation, but a giant step. The Phillies are suddenly cornered. Everything they do next feels do or die. Game 3 in Los Angeles becomes a pivot. Close it out at home, or watch the series flip on its head. Takeaways to lean on. Snell delivered the innings commodity the Dodgers desperately needed. Starters who eat innings are playoff gold. The 7th inning was the clean break. Timely hitting, forced pitching changes, immediate payoff. The bullpen drama created narrative tension. Real, fixable, and nerve-wracking. And that defensive scramble on the final out, a quiet hero moment that cost nothing in beauty, but everything in consequence. For Phillies fans, it stings because the middle-of-order bats never fully showed up when the game mattered. When your big names go quiet in October, you get missed opportunities and often a shorter postseason. For Dodgers fans, this game was textbook. Ace starter sets the tone, offense seizes the moment, bullpen survives the scare. Imperfect? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. If you're cutting this into a highlight or a short reaction, stitch it tight. Snell highlights the 7th inning rally, slow motion on Smith's hit and Ohtani's RBI, bullpen tension, close-ups, crowd noise, the final defensive scramble, and the stadium exhale. Keep audio tight, use Heartbeat SFX for the 9th, and let silence land on the last out. Emotionally, the story is resilience. The Dodgers didn't win because everything was flawless. They won because they manufactured a big moment and then survived when the game threatened to slip. That's the version of October that sticks in fans' heads. Not the prettiest baseball, but the baseball that earns another day. Tonight proved the playoffs aren't about paper arguments. They're about answering the bell. The Dodgers answered twice, first on the mound, then in the 7th. The Phillies answered late and made it dramatic. Now they must answer again in LA. For both clubs, the work starts tomorrow. What do you call a masterpiece that nearly explodes at the end? A Dodgers win, apparently. 4-3. Brilliant pitching, an offense that woke up just in time, and a bullpen that gave everyone a full-body panic attack, then closed the door. If you blinked, you missed both the masterpiece and the near meltdown. For 6 innings, this felt like 2 surgeons trading scalpel work. Blake Snell was surgical. Biting, breaking balls, late life on pitches, 9 strikeouts, and shutout innings that looked almost effortless. On the other side, Jesus Luzardo was nothing to laugh at. He retired 17 straight Dodgers at one point and had that game locked into a neutral, scoreless hum. It was the kind of pitcher's duel that makes fans nostalgic for the smell of leather and rosin powder. Then the seventh happened. Teoscar Hernandez opened with a single, reminding everyone that baseball is a long game of inches and timing. Freddie Freeman ripped a double right after, suddenly turning zeros into immediate pressure. Luzardo had done his job for most of the night, but managers don't waste chances in October, and that was the moment to pull the plug. Orion Kerkering came in to try and hold it, and the Dodgers turned on the heat. They loaded the bases, and Will Smith did what he's been paid to do, a two-run single that cleared the decks. Then Shohei Ohtani, who'd been quiet until then, delivered an RBI knock, his first hit of the series, and the scoreboard flashed 4-0. The bench exhaled, the broadcast booth took a collective breath, and half the crowd started mentally sketching out the Gatorade bath. But modern Dodger baseball has a rule: no lead is sacred. A 4-0 advantage is not a guarantee. It's an invitation for drama. Snell exited after 6 brilliant frames, and the bullpen came on to run the gauntlet. The Phillies clawed back with a run in the 8th, then turned the 9th into a real thriller. Blake Trinan gave up a 2-run double to Nick Castellanos that suddenly turned a comfortable lead into a 1-run game. The stadium leaned forward like it was eavesdropping on a particularly juicy secret. Momentum in baseball is a sly thing. One hit becomes two, and two becomes a chorus. For a heartbeat, the game felt like it could tip either way. The Phillies smelled blood. The fans in Philly were loud. The Dodgers dugout practiced calm as a public art form. Then the Dodgers pulled a few plays out of their pocket that felt rehearsed over late-night phone calls and obsessive practice sessions. A charge, a smart throw, crisp footwork. Alex Vesia turned panic into a defensive drill, and the final sequence of outs was a small, beautiful choreography. The last out was the kind of play that will live forever on highlight loops. A 2-out grounder, a low throw, Freddie Freeman scooping like a man retrieving a dropped heirloom, and Roki Sasaki somehow finishing it off. It was a quaint little miracle, the sort of tiny salvage job that makes October baseball equal parts brutal and holy. Let's be honest, the win didn't feel pretty. It felt earned. Snell handed you dominance on a silver platter. 6 innings, 1 hit, 9 Ks, 4 walks, and was rewarded with the victory. Luzardo left in the 7th with frustration boiling over. 2 runners left on base were the difference between a continuation and a loss. Will Smith and Ohtani supplied the decisive hits, but the bullpen made the final 30 minutes of the game a suspense movie. This series now shifts to Los Angeles with the Dodgers holding a 2-0 lead in a best-of-5. That's practically a cliff from which the Phillies must climb. Game 3 is in LA on Wednesday night, and the Dodgers will have 2 chances at home to finish the job. That setup changes the calculus. Philadelphia needs to win at least once in LA to keep things alive. Otherwise, this whole theatrical run could be over sooner than some fans hoped. Takeaways? Snell's performance reminded everyone of his ceiling. He can shut a team down on his best night. The offense woke up when it mattered most, showing patience and timely aggression in the 7th. The bullpen reminded everyone why fans simultaneously love and hate relief pitching, capable of both instantaneous salvation and sudden chaos. That duality is a feature of October baseball, not a bug. It makes victories feel like earned myths and losses like small tragedies. There's a human story threaded through all of this. Baseball isn't only about ERA charts, pitch tunnels, or exit velocities. It's about timing, small acts of courage, and the way pressure reveals character. A starter can be brilliant and still leave you's heart racing if the pen is shaky. A bench player can turn into a postseason hero with one well-placed swing. Managers make choices. Players respond. Sometimes you get a tidy narrative. Sometimes you get tonight, equal parts art and chaos. If you were building a highlight